Hello everyone. Today I'll be having just a short update like my last Wednesday video. So I wanted to talk once again about my current project with the Hivemind project. For those of you who may be just jumping onto this video without any context, that is a project where my AI attempts to tackle a task with the goal of having 16 dots on the screen not run into each other, and these dots are going at a constant speed in a random direction, and the AI can tell the dots to go in to change direction slightly each tick of the program. So these are the scores that the program has achieved, and these are the scores you've seen before in previous videos. But I believe around here was where we left off. So you can see that it slowly got a little better, got stuck, and then had to try again, kept going, got stuck again, kept going, and then here you'll see that it has a 60 and then it kept this 50. And so what happened was that the second best program was replaced with a new program that has a better score, and so that program became the first best program because 60 is greater than 50, and then the program with the score of 50 was bumped to the second place here. So it kept going for a while, and it could not improve from this 60-50 configuration, but what happens is the 50 is now dropped because that's the second program, and it continued to go up with this 60, and here you'll see that the 39 stayed and the 60 was replaced, and you may be thinking, how does that work? But what happens is that when the program scans through with the child programs that have gotten a better score, it tries each individual decision to see if that is a better decision for the general program, and if that is a better decision, then it plugs that if statement into the current best program, or the current second best program, but in this case the current best program, and generates a new high score from that new configuration of decisions. So what it did here was it replaced one or more of the decisions in the best program to improve it, and then went along on its calculations, got stuck on the 9139 and had to start over, and that's where we are. So what I wanted to talk about today is that I believe that this program may be reaching its exhaustion, as in when it comes to an AI program, it never necessarily, unless on some odd circumstance it was very lucky, an AI of this type would never necessarily find the perfect answer, but it should slowly get closer and closer and closer to that answer. And so the thing is that with this kind of AI, the progress of the AI starts a little slow, so it will stick around at the low scores for a while, and then it will get up, and then once it reaches something that's that's decently intelligent, you'll find that the overall growth of the intelligence is significantly larger, so the slope of the growth of the intelligence is greater. And then it reaches a point where it starts to taper off, and it starts to get closer and closer and closer to this maximum threshold, or the perfect program in the eyes of the AI. And so technically a perfect score on this game would be 10,000, although it would be nearly impossible for a a program to score 10,000, especially considering the information that it's receiving as inputs. So in this program, the only things that the AI is receiving is the x and y coordinates of the dots. So what I had explained before, and one of the reasons that it goes so slow is because that the AI is not receiving the direction that the dots are going, so it can't necessarily tell that the two dots are going to hit each other. It just knows that they're relatively close to each other. And I mean, I say knows. The whole thing is a random progression, so it doesn't necessarily know in the sense that we might be able to intuitively decipher that two dots are going to hit each other. But the goal of this program was the goal of this whole project in general was to see how the AI would handle a lot of different variables being fed in at one time. And I would consider this project a success, considering that the goal was for the AI to be able to control many variables and make decisions based off of a lot of different input variables and a lot of different output variables. And it did that. It has created a program that was better than before, than the baseline of doing nothing at playing this game or completing this task. And overall, I have made improvements because of this program. I added in the filter, which I talked about, which is actually what it's the only state you've seen this project in on YouTube, because I originally did this project a couple months ago before I had this channel. But I will show you the current best program for the AI. I have it up here. And you'll see that the score isn't the best. It's not necessarily up to that 91 score that it got, but you'll see that all of these dots are going in circles, which means that the AI has identified all of these dots and identified their x and y coordinates, and is making decisions based off of it's telling each of the dots to go in a circle, which I mean isn't necessarily the best situation. I could probably code in a better situation, but that's not the point of the AI. The point of the AI is for the AI to figure out something that is better than doing nothing, because that means that it is an improvement and it is more intelligent than just doing nothing. So I do believe that if I were to run this program for a very long time, it would get better, but I understand that there are limitations based off of what inputs I'm putting in. So I don't think I'm going to be running this project anymore. If you guys want to see more updates on this, I can, but as of right now, I think I'll be moving on to bigger and better things. Not to say that this wasn't an important project, and I do believe it was a success. In the streams to come, you will see the program that I have been running on the major streams, and I should probably clarify. So with this channel, I think I'm starting to get into a rhythm. So I think that what's going to happen with terms of when streams are, the big like 1 hour or 30 minutes to 1 hour structured streams will be on Saturdays in the afternoon, like they have been. So that'll be anywhere from 6 to 8 o'clock, but I will try to start it on an hour point. So if you happen to log on at like say 6:02 and I'm not started, then I'm probably not starting until 7 or 8. But that being said, these smaller streams that are strictly updates and telling you what's going on, I say midweek update, and they will be in the middle of the week, so they will be on Wednesdays at around the same time. So 6 to 8 o'clock will be when it starts, and it'll just end whenever it ends, because for these they're a lot less structured, so they're not necessarily limited, or they don't necessarily have a minimum time. So if I get my point across in 5 minutes, I'll turn off the stream in 5 minutes. But I would like to see, I know that if I get into a rhythm, then it'll be easier for audience members to be able to log on and check about the stream and interact with the stream, because then they won't necessarily need to see on the social medias that I'm planning to stream. So other than the project in general, I do have an idea that I am going to start looking into. I don't know if it's something I'll be able to do very soon, but it's something I'm going to start working on. And that idea is, you might notice from the title, is my theory about it's a metaphor to a car transmission. So what happens is that, like I said, with this project, the project follows an S-curve. So it starts out slow, it gets a lot faster, and then there's a point where it starts to taper off and reach a maximum of, or at least slow down, have a smaller slope to where it's kind of unbearable to keep track of. And so what I think might be able to, what I might be able to do is create something that, once it has that seed of intelligence, so once it's reached a certain threshold of intelligence, then a different program can take over, and a different type of AI can take over and start to intuitively make tweaks to the program, so that the program can get better at the task, can get even better and reach that maximum possibility of that task. So what would happen is, like I said with a car transmission, is that the program would slowly get better, and then it would luckily find that one spot, that one flicker of intelligence, and it would grab onto that and skyrocket a little bit. And before it starts to taper off, like how in a gear, when you get the RPMs up, then you need to shift into the next gear because it's going fast enough for that gear to take over. Then before it gets to that part where it tapers off, the next program can say, hey, it's ready for me now, and then take that and run with it. So I will be tossing that idea around. I don't necessarily have any specific ideas on the style of the AI that would be doing that, but I think it would be a more exaggerated version of the current. So the current AI that I have, I call it IntGen. It's just it started out genetic, and I've explained this in the past. It started out as a genetic AI, and then I attempted to improve it, and it has seemed to be an improvement, where the program goes through and intuitively picks out traits that improve the program overall. And that's what I was talking about earlier with how the best program was improved, but the second program was left alone. That's because it went through and scanned through and plugged in an if statement into the current best program over top of one it already had, and it said, okay, this one makes the program better as a whole, so we're going to keep this one and get rid of the other one. And it's not necessarily creating an entirely new program, which is what would happen with the genetic AI. So the genetic AI would say, this program scored better than this program, so we're going to keep this one. But the problems with that is that it tends to propagate traits that aren't necessarily that good, because it doesn't do the scanning through to check if those traits are actually important. So the IntGen AI that I have is technically slower than a genetic AI, but the overall growth of intelligence is faster. So and it's more efficient in a sense. It could be that they go about the same speed, but it is more efficient in the sense that it doesn't get caught up on unimportant traits. So just gonna get the webcam a little bigger here since I'm talking. So I do think that it may be possible to exaggerate that type of program, in the sense that it would, instead of creating new programs, just take the current best two programs and start making adjustments based off of what does better. So maybe it looks and it tests and sees what type of which of the traits is the most important, and then it can sort of exaggerate that trait. So let's say in nature, if I don't know, a beetle got evolved to have little spikes, and those spikes significantly allowed it to live longer and to have a larger population, then if a program like the one I'm thinking of came into the picture, then it could say, okay, those spikes are the most important feature that caused improvements. So what if we had much larger spikes? So that might not necessarily help out. Maybe it's already perfect. But the thing is that the program can test out these new theories and can sort of poke around and see if it can tweak the current program to be even better than it is. And so it is possible that the program is already perfect, but the probability of that happening is very slim. So I think that might help, but it could be that that's only the next gear, but then there's a gear above that, and I would imagine that you could work with it in that sense. So that's kind of the mental picture I'm tossing around at the moment. But so that was the general update that I wanted to talk about at the moment, and given that I don't have any questions in the comments, I'll be signing off. But like I said, I do plan to stream every Saturday and Wednesday, so I will be seeing you next Saturday. But you will notice that the general scenery behind me will be slightly different, because I am moving back to UCF since the winter break is over. I will be starting classes, but I don't think that will get in the way of my normal streaming time, given my current schedule with classes. So I will be signing off, but I hope to see you on Saturday and in the streams to come. So thank you.